that we
going. We are going. I think
we're
live.
We are here, everybody.
Hello. Happy Friday.
Hello,
I'm here on the Friday live. It feels very new.
Yay, David's here. He left
snuck away.
work.
Don't. Shh. I'm live. And some people at work subscribe to this channel. So.
That's true, they do. But hopefully they're not paying attention to the notification.
It's my lunch hour. I can do whatever I want on my lunch hour.
That's right.
Anyway.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm David, and we are talking about Big Brother. We got a recap.
We are.
Last night. We're mostly going to just touch on Wednesday, because Wednesday we already talked about most of it, and we don't, it's it's stuff that we didn't want to
And it was really painful to watch, actually.
Yeah, right. So we saw the veto on Wednesday.
Yes.
Which is sort of the only thing we didn't know exactly how that went down. We knew who won, but we didn't see the competition.
It was very interesting.
And the way they edited it, I thought was very compelling. It seemed very close in the edit. If you didn't know what was going to happen, you would think oh my God, who won, Jackson or Nicole?
That's what made me a little bit more angry than usual.
Yeah.
But let's do this first. But first.
Oh, sorry.
Let's do that. Okay.
First.
Together. Wait.
But first.
If you're new to this channel, please click subscribe.
It's a new thing.
And a thumbs up.
Yes,
please.
and support us on Patreon. Links in the description.
Yes.
Sorry, I jumped the gun. I'm new to this Friday thing.
This is a blend of our Thursday and Friday episode because we weren't able to do one last night. Mm-hmm. So we're going to touch on Wednesday. We're going to talk about Thursday's eviction episode. We're going to talk with chat. Thank you. I see so many of you guys here. Michelle, Artemisia, Ryan, Linda, Chelsea. Thank you so much for joining us. Hunter, Fonda, yay!
We're all here.
Okay. Now,
the veto.
So here are my thoughts on. Well, no, tell me your thoughts on veto, because I've actually already talked about veto.
Well, on TV I enjoyed watching the veto because it felt Nicole did such a good job, and Cliff struggled.
There was no way Cliff was going to do well at this.
My God. And then Holly was just mediocre as usual. And I was I knew, of course I knew the spoiler. I knew that Jackson had won veto, but I was whoa, how close is this? Did she just barely lose? And it wasn't really just barely, it was a full 3 minutes that she lost by.
3, yeah.
But it was, I don't know what more she could have done, really. I think she probably tried her hardest, She was the HOH. She knew that this was an important veto competition. She probably hustled as hard as she could, but Jackson's just too good with that stuff. But it was also fun to see him, break down. Yeah. He, on his hands and knees in the diary room, so mad at himself.
First he punches, then he's praying. I'm so glad that they left that stuff in. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a balance with his edit. They're really giving him some decent stuff because he probably is going to win. But they're also we're going to show you that he's also a bit Looney Tunes.
Yes, right.
So I appreciate that. I appreciate throwing a little bit of that in there just to not make it look like it's all peaches and cream here.
Oh, yeah, right. He's just sailing through to the finale where he's going to get the check, He's definitely, struggling, and truly he really is fighting for his place to be there. He knew how much he had to win this, because if he hadn't won the veto, he would have gone home.
I don't know. Cliff was probably going to save his butt, but that's a whole other story. Unless Nicole had won veto. If Nicole had won, which if Jackson hadn't, Nicole was going to win. It wasn't going to be Cliff.
Yes.
Then Nicole had the right to be we're keeping Holly, not Jackson.
Yes, right. Putting my foot down.
Unfortunately, we don't get to see
We don't know how that would have gone.
Here's something I want to talk about, because a lot of complaints went into that production was helping Jackson during this.
There's a lot of talk about that this season. More than just with this episode. People have been suspicious all season.
Yeah, and I finally, because I'm no. And then I finally on this one was oh no, I'm concerned that he's got some sort of in with production. But I want to relay this to you guys, because this is interesting. Well, first off, when Jackson was saying on the feeds, they kept telling me not the HOH, not the whatever, or whichever question it was. Oh. That's what made the internet go, wait, he got help.
Yeah.
There are other people chiming in. Holly says, same. Nicole says, yeah. So, it wasn't just Jackson and nobody else. So that's my point one, was that it
not
wasn't
the only one with help.
Yes. Apparently, a lot of people were confused, and production had to clarify. Here's something I learned from watching. Andy was on Rob Has a Podcast recap last night.
Okay.
And getting his insight was very interesting. He was like, here's something that the audience doesn't fully understand.
Yeah.
There's no dinger. There's no
right.
buzz.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I understand that, but I guess,
we work in
production. Yeah. Yeah.
If you're just watching, the edited version, they hit a button and you hear a or you hear a ding.
Right, but they don't have that. So there has to be a producer who comes over.
The producer yells, nope, wrong, do it again. It is not the they're just clarifying. So what Jackson was doing it, hitting the buzzer, and they're going, nope, and they're re-clarifying. Mm-hmm. Does it again, wrong. Hits it. Nope, re-clarifying. Yeah. So when he explained it that way, I was like, oh, okay, this is just the way you run a show.
Right.
So I'm not thinking that Jackson actually had help.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it was great to see him struggle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But he still won.
He still won. Yes. So then that's pretty much all that we didn't really get to see. Like all these other conversations that happened on the Wednesday episode, we already knew about.
And the luxury comp was a legit waste of my time. Mm-hmm. What was that horrible editing?
Oh, yeah.
Why was that even in the show?
I completely forgot that was even a thing in the show.
I think, here's my producer thought, is that it was meant for Sunday's episode.
Okay.
And with the blow up and all the stuff that happened, the throwing the HOH, like all of that other stuff took precedent. Okay. And the comp got pushed to Wednesday.
That makes sense, yeah.
Because it didn't make sense in this Wednesday
episode.
It
didn't. And it was such a short segment. Like, it was not interesting.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think that's...
So Jackson just got $10,000 for that thing.
Okay, great.
Okay, whatever.
Well, hopefully, like Nicole says, take that as your consolation prize on your way out the door.
I hope. Oh. So, at the end of the Wednesday episode... Nicole is like, I am the girl who has, like, taken the showmans to the final three. Like, she kind of she sees how the viewers are viewing this, And she's, like, sort of lamenting, like, I can't believe I ended up here. Like, I wish I'd won that veto and had more control, whatever.
Yeah.
Then we go into Thursday's episode, and this is the stuff that I wanted to see. We already talked about it, but I'm so happy to, like, see this conversation with Jackson play out on TV, and I loved the scene in the backyard when she's like, I like it when people say things and they mean it. And they stick to what they say.
I like when we stick to our words.
And Jackson's face is like, I know what you're alluding to. So look, I'm sending Cliff home. And then Cliff, like, comes right outside.
I know, right? Perfect timing.
Yes.
But then, of course, Jackson follows Nicole. She can't ever just, like, walk away from him.
Right.
He
Nicole,
always falls.
Can we talk?
Can we talk? Nicole.
Yeah.
But this is when I thought, oh my gosh, my dog just turned.
Jovi. Get comfy.
This is what I thought in this edit, because comparing, I watched it live versus this edit, Jackson didn't get the last word. Is that just me?
I think you're right.
How did you feel that edit?
Yeah, no. And I just loved watching her shut him down over and over again. The whole thing, like, again, we already talked about it, but her saying, like, don't use this as an excuse. Like, don't pretend like you were never going to do this until we, broke the deal. Yeah. Because she's like, the reality is Cliff is not the one who was going to break the deal. It was me. So don't blame Cliff for my thing. That it doesn't work. Like, I love that she's really standing up to him.
Yeah. She, I'm sorry. My dog has a cone on.
She's going through it.
She's like pushing the tripod. I can only imagine what it looks like or sounds like to you guys. So sorry about that. But yeah, so I love, she sees through him. Mm-hmm. She's shutting him down. Don't give me this excuse. This is a game move and I get it. Why don't you just tell me it's a game move? But of course, in reality, he was like, no, listen. Listen. He kept trying to cut her off because he had a planned speech that he wanted the cameras to show on the show. And they didn't.
Yeah.
And so that made me happy that she was like, no, don't give me an excuse. And he like tries to interrupt, but they don't go back to him. So I was like, thank you for that.
Yeah, but she's like, I get it. Like, here we are. I'm the dumb girl who like brought the showmans. He's like, no, you're not. Because that's not part of his speech, right? That's not the messaging that he wants to get out.
Yeah. And that doesn't take the responsibility off of his shoulders.
Yeah.
That makes it sound like he was always going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
He was always
Which you were always going to do that. You've said so in the DR. Like, we know, but whatever. Then Nicole, of course Jackson is like, please don't tell Cliff. And so Nicole tells Cliff.
Oh my God, the way they piece that together.
It's so good.
Nicole's DR. All right, well, why don't you go?
Yes, so good. So she tells Cliff, and he, again, Cliff doesn't play this game emotionally. He's like very pragmatic about things. Nicole comes in, like obviously looks distressed, and he's like, what's wrong? It's okay. Like, it's okay. What's going on?
Yeah.
And she basically tells him, like, Jackson's going to evict you. And he's like, listen, I'm here to fight. Like, I'm going to keep it going. Don't give up on me yet. I mean, I would have given up on him at that moment, but like, he's like, I'm still in this. I'm going to fight, which I respect. Like, as a Big Brother superfan, I would expect nothing less from Cliff.
And this is another moment where I was glad we got a DR, because when you watch her tell him this in real time and he's so calm, he's like, it's okay, it's okay. And you're like, what? Yeah. Like, on one hand, I'm glad he's not freaking Nicole out.
Sure.
But that's what I needed to hear in the DR. Was like, deep down, I'm mad. I can't believe this. I don't want to go out, but like, I have to be cool for Nicole. So I needed that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That was good. Then we get to the jury segment, which I actually really enjoyed this time. The first jury segment was no bueno. This one was great.
This was so good. I don't even look forward to jury segments. Like, they're not my favorite thing. Mm-hmm. And especially this jury, don't care about half those people in that house.
But I think it helped that they waited so long.
Maybe.
So we got so many people coming in and like so many varied reactions to these people coming in.
And they are a hot mess!
It's so good.
So good.
They skipped right over Nick's eviction. Who cares? We're not showing the tape. Like, we're going to the double eviction, right?
Yeah. Nick arrives. The highlight of this is Kat being like, ugh, gross.
Yeah.
Why? Why do I have to live with him?
Cut to 30 seconds later. They're hooking up in the jury house, and Nick doesn't want to even think about Bella. Don't ask me that question.
Oh, okay. So the question is, who does production hate, Nick or Bella? Because they straight up did them dirty. Dirty. Yikes. So the best part, though, I think, was Christy coming in and her fight with Nick. Like, that was amazing. And Nick is a bitter Betty, and Christy called him out exactly for that. Like, she nailed him. She was like, he's like, you blew everybody's up, you played a dirty game, but, and she's like, I blew your stuff up, and you're butthurt about it. Yeah. The end. Yeah. And that is the end of it. But I am all here for Nick as a juror. Like, his poutiness, his bitter, he is so butthurt.
Yeah.
And I love it. I'm like, this is why Nick was cast. Because he's horrible at the game and he's pouting in jury. And I loved every second of it. I also loved Christy being a hot mess every second of it.
She was like, still, I mean, the wounds were fresh for Christy, right? Like,
crying,
the manifesting comments. Jovi's back with the cone. It's okay,
so
Joe. Just make your way around. It's okay. It's fine. So, Nick mocking her with the manifesting comments. It's just great.
She called him out, but, like, I'm glad he was calling her out. Like, I loved the fight.
Yes, it was so good. Then, of course, Tommy arrives, and, he and Christy reveal
doesn't feel his energy. It's going to be Nicole or Cliff. I don't feel Tommy's energy.
Honestly, like...
In walks.
Oh, my God. Like, Christy, you got to watch this back, because this is... You just need to shift the perspective a little bit. The messages you're receiving are not correct.
No, they're not. If you're not feeling Tommy's energy, then maybe that means Tommy's coming in. Like, whatever your cues are, maybe just flip it.
Maybe you don't feel energy. Maybe that's not a real thing. I don't know. But Tommy comes in, and of course they get their little moment alone. And,
he's like, I gotta talk to you. Which actually, in my mind, I was like, I wonder if they're gonna let Tommy pull her aside, because he needs to.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah, so he tells her, like I told him in the house. She tells him, I didn't tell anybody here. Not that she had much time. She had about a week alone without him in the jury house. But
and I think the key moment in this like confessional was that Tommy said, I needed to distance myself from you. Like, Christy's getting a message that they did not like her.
They hated her.
I think that's important as we go into a vote.
I agree. Yeah. So he sort of, you can kind of see the realization happen with her where she's like, wait a minute, what? You had to distance yourself from me? And like, I was their number one target all along? Okay. I think that kind of like...
I don't know why 6 weeks on the block... Wait, it wasn't 6. Was it 6?
Might as well. I think it was 4.
I'm
but like
it
was a month on the block, So they go in and then they reveal the secret to everybody.
Yeah.
And did you know that they also went to elementary school together?
Yes.
I didn't know that wrinkle.
It was, well, we had seen childhood friend was a hashtag that Tommy had done. Oh my god, now I'm kicking the tripod. Like, this is
it's going
winning. But yeah, when she was first evicted, in one of her interviews, she explained the whole thing.
Gotcha.
We went to elementary school and then reconnected.
Yeah.
So that most people didn't know that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, the jury, of course, is like impressed. Like, nobody has any reason to like be upset about it at this point. They're all out of the game. So they're all like, great job, you guys. Like, you kept a secret. That's amazing. I mean, I'm sure Nick was like, grumble.
I actually thought that Nick was going to be like, oh, okay, I love you too, Tommy. But no, he was even more mad.
Yeah.
I can't read Nick, but
great.
I'm all for it.
He's great.
I just gotta stop and say, Faith, you're so lovely. She says that we look like we're probably in our late 20s.
Faith, we're keeping you around. We are keeping you around.
Neither one of us are in our 20s, but I was just like, I appreciate that. Okay,
yes,
back to business.
Yes. So, is there anything else that happened in the jury? Not really. The one thing I came away with, and I think we might slightly disagree here, but I think Nick is voting for Jackson no matter what, if Jackson's in the final two. Just the way that Nick was talking about, like, 7 wins, this guy's a beast. And he kind of, people were talking about, like, Jackson's playing a dirty game. And he kind of was like, I don't care. Comp beast. He's got all these wins. So, as of that moment in the jury, like, granted, things still are going to happen. Like, Cliff's headed to the jury now. Who knows how that's going to sway things. But right now, I think Nick doesn't care about dirty game. He only cares about dirty game when it comes to Christy. He doesn't care about Jackson's dirty game. He has won so many comps that it seems to me like Nick is going to be fighting for Jackson to win.
I think that you and I should, on our Monday episode, dive into votes more.
Jury
I think that'd
breakdown.
be a good time to talk about votes, because this is a really tough to figure out. Are people going to vote for Jackson because of all the things he's done?
Yeah.
Or are they going to be mad and just not want to vote for him? And I couldn't tell with Nick. Like, your opinion is interesting to me, because Nick was so mad and angry about so many things, so that he was like, yeah, he's won so much. I was like, is he mad that he won so much and he's not going to vote for him? And honestly, the fact that he's with Kat now, we know Kat's against Jackson. We know that's a vote for Holly. So does she convince Nick?
Sure.
I don't know. Let's definitely. Break down votes sometime.
We should, because the other thing in this jury segment was people starting to appreciate Nicole's gameplay, right? Nicole's coming alive. She's winning comps. So it wasn't so much on the couch. It was more the individual confessional interviews where they're like, wow, Nicole, deciding vote on so many votes. She really has positioned herself well. So that to me reads a little producer prompted.
Right.
Can you talk about, how good of a game Nicole's playing?
Yeah.
They're trying to make it seem like a nail biter. I don't know. We should definitely dive more into it on Monday.
And to that point,
all the scenarios.
Yeah. So obviously Jackson got, lots of things said about him, and Nicole got a little bit of love.
Yeah.
Oh wow, she's winning.
She finally
she's
won.
Coming out. Gets a little bit of that. But honestly, Holly got
none.
Almost nothing.
Nothing.
And the only thing she did get were in these producer prompts. Those sit down straight to camera. The producer has said, how do you feel about Jackson's game?
Yeah.
Now, how do you feel about Nicole's game?
Yeah.
Now, how do you feel? They just ran and asked them about every single person.
They get all of the perspectives.
Only soundbite that they could pull was Jack being like, oh yeah, Holly's done some things. Okay, if that's your best soundbite.
That's the best one. And the second best was I think everybody in the house has a chance to win. That vaguely had to do with Holly. Other than that, no love for Holly. So
yeah. So it either has to be a lot of anger towards Jackson, or I don't know.
Yeah.
It didn't look good for Holly.
Yeah. So anyway, that was a great jury segment. I loved that check-in just to see where everybody's head was at. And then it was great to come back into the house to see Cliff threaten Jackson with a little jury manipulation.
Oh boy.
Because Jackson, from Jackson's reaction, he thought everybody's just going to roll over and get out of his way on his march to the confetti cannon, right?
Yep.
Well, not Cliff.
Nope.
He will let you know, listen, if you break your word, I'm going to jury.
You guys, this was one of my favorite nights on the feed. I was all over Twitter about it. I was all over our Discord. If you're a member of our Patreon and a member of our Discord, then you saw me in there being like, you guys, feeds!
Turn on the feeds now!
Yes. Because, so we knew that Cliff was going to try something like this, and you got a good bulk edit. Like, that was basically the pitch in the edit. But what you didn't get to see was Jackson's reaction afterwards.
Yeah.
And that was beautiful.
Yes, yeah.
He legitimately had never thought that he wouldn't get all of the votes in the jury. Just like, remember when Nicole won veto and he was like, wait a minute, she could take Cliff off and Holly goes up?
He is
never thought
so,
of it.
like, self-centered and, like, only thought, like, there's only one way this is going to go down and it is me winning and that's it. Like, never any consideration for an alternative.
And not even considering his showmance.
Yeah.
Who on paper has 2 HOHs. Mm-hmm. You know, we're going to dive into, like, game later, but, like...
Yes. On paper,
she does have 2 HOHs. Like, it's not like she's done nothing, Jackson.
Yeah.
But, like, to her, because he immediately is like, can you believe this to her? Mm-hmm. He said to her, can you believe that he's going to take money away from me and just hand it to you? He said that to Holly.
It's
what?
Unbelievable.
What? But I mean, honestly, Holly was like, oh, no, it's okay.
Yeah. She was like, this is great.
She was like, wait, I might
win. And we all collectively laughed at Holly. Like, that's not going to happen. Because, like, I think maybe Holly genuinely never considered that she might win.
No, she was like, I'm so proud of you. I love you so much, Jackson. You should win, and I'll be right next to my man as he wins.
And I'll get my $50K.
Yeah, but then she was like, oh, wait, what?
Ooh, but I don't hate this scenario.
I just loved watching how devastated he was. Yeah. That someone might rip the money from him. And I was like, I'm sorry, did you already have the money?
Oh my God. Jackson? And what's so Jackson about it is that he's not even, I mean, he was devastated, but he's also angry, right? Like, he feels so entitled to this that he's mad that someone might take it away from him. And it's like, yeah, guess what? Like, Cliff's giving you a taste of your own medicine. You know what I mean? Like, you kept going about, like, breaking your word. So Cliff comes right back and says, like, you broke your word.
I just wanted to show you.
Jovi.
My poor dog.
Look at that dog.
At my feet with the comb. Yeah, and so then we go into the speeches, and it's just more of that.
More of that.
Because Jackson is so, like, do not threaten me. Do not come at me with this. Do not rip this money from my family.
Right. Ugh.
And you heard it thick in that speech. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad he threw out words like adaptability because those are game words. Like, yes, play your own game, adaptability. Yeah. But it was just too thick with, like, how dare you put any blame on me whatsoever for playing the game of Big Brother. Right. It's all on you guys.
Yes, right.
And then it actually bled into Holly's speech too, which I was really disappointed because Holly, you don't need to do that. You don't need to, like, stand on your high horse and say, I threw this HOH. It's really not yours. Like, that's just gross. Yeah. It's not a good look.
Right. And, like, why are you doing that?
Yes, you don't need to.
Jackson is the only vote. Who are you talking to? Like, what? I honestly, thank you for saying that because I didn't listen to Holly's speech. I don't know what she said.
No, it was not a good speech. And it was so funny because Julie's like, now please address your speech to Jackson. Yeah. And she stood up and turned to Cliff and Nicole and was like, basically like, I don't really like how this went down. I should have had this HOH. Yeah. And went on too long without a point. Right. And I was like, oh, God. Well, I mean, if that's how you speak in a final two.
Goodbye. Yeah. Good luck. Like, enjoy your $50K. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. So then, of course, Jackson evicts Cliff. And I just could not believe the jury management attempt on the way out the door.
I've never seen something So gross. Okay, well, first, again, did you watch him do his sole vote? Because it wasn't a vote. It was another speech.
Yeah, it was another speech.
I was like,
Just
it's not a
up.
speech, it's a vote.
I know.
Just say it, Jackson.
Yeah.
But no, he needs to, like, lay it on thick.
Yes, right.
That Cliff...
I'm a man of my word. My word is my bond.
And Cliff is not. Cliff is not. Cliff is not.
Cliff's a snake.
And then Cliff's walking out the door as Jackson's like, remember to vote, game. Remember to vote, game.
Remember, Cliff, it's a game.
Jackson.
Be a man, it's a game.
Not,
like that kind of stuff.
I just, like, I'm blown away. Like, I'm blown away by what Jackson is doing right now.
It's just...
It makes no sense whatsoever.
Right. So, Cliff's interview was good because Julie gave him some stuff to think about.
Julie was obviously not a fan of keeping Holly versus Tommy. She wanted to let Cliff know.
Yeah.
Like,
yep. She
in
said,
what
in
world?
what world?
In what world?
Would he ever take you over his girlfriend?
And
Answer
Cliff's
that question.
like,
Cliff's like,
well,
yeah, you make a good point, Julie.
Good point. And then she, like, kept rubbing it in or kept bringing it up, and he was like, look, I get you. I get it.
Right.
He's like, you don't think I'm going to think about this for the rest of my life?
And she also called him on his bogus final two deal with Jackson.
Oh, right.
Where he was like, I need you to be...
Yeah.
Like you to take me to final two, but FYI, I'm not taking you. Julie's like, what kind of a deal is that? Who's going to take that? And I will say, like, Cliff got a little, like, drunk with power on the deals front towards the end of the game, and I think that really did bite him. So I was glad that Julie brought that up and kind of, like, made him answer for that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because, like, what were you thinking? And Cliff doesn't really have anything to say other than, like, looking back, I got played.
He got played.
Yeah.
He thought that man to man, a man's handshake,
gentleman to gentleman,
is bros before hoes, man to man. We got this together, us men.
You don't.
Us Southern gentlemen.
No. Nope.
No ladies allowed. Is what Cliff thought. But
yeah.
He's wrong.
You're wrong.
And we all knew that. He'll figure it out.
He'll figure it out. He'll watch it back.
I love that they showed us Jackson saying in the DR, hand $500,000 to Holly. Like, he's sticking with those words that he deserves to win, and if Holly gets it, you're handing it to her. And I was like, well, I'm glad that the television people saw it.
Yeah.
Because I saw it on the live feeds, but I wasn't sure if everybody was going to fully hear it.
Yeah.
We also heard it on the goodbye messages that we should talk about.
We should talk about this. Now, this, I mean, it's not technically a spoiler, but it didn't happen on the show.
Okay, spoilers!
So Jackson's goodbye message has caused quite a stir on the interweb because he's basically, like, threatening Cliff with, like, don't you dare manipulate the jury. Like, you need to vote for game. Like, just sort of reiterating a lot of the things we heard in the house. But it's a very sort of confrontational goodbye message.
It was. It's like Jackson doesn't understand people are going to vote for him.
Yeah.
His entitlement is so high. And his not wanting to take responsibility is also so high that he's kind of just saying, hey, you're the bad person. You did this. I didn't want to have to, he loves that phrase. I didn't want to have to do any of this. And I just want to be like, wait, do you really think that means anything?
Yeah.
Like, if I ever get to sit down with Jackson, which is never going to happen,
yeah.
I'm going to be like, what do you think it means that you didn't want to do something, but you did it? Like, what does that mean in your head? But anyway, that's psychology.
Yeah, that would be a very long conversation, I think.
Yeah, because he thinks it means something.
Yeah.
To say, I didn't want to, but I'm going to do it. But yeah, and, basically he's just like, you just need to remember game.
Yeah. And guess
buddy,
what?
When you're in that jury house.
People generally, as a rule, don't like being told what to do or how to feel or how to react, you know? I think a better strategy would have been like, Cliff, like, I'm sorry, maybe. I really appreciated getting to know you. You know, it's like a goodbye message. Like, you're not seeing him anymore and you're taking this last chance to try to boss him around, but
And you want his vote.
Yeah.
Say, I'm sorry, Cliff.
Yeah.
I know we had a handshake
Yeah.
and I loved playing with you. But, like, I want to take my showmance.
I had a final two with her from the beginning. Like,
Yeah.
that's a valid point to make.
That's owning your moves.
Yeah.
And you make Cliff feel better about himself
Mhm.
and has a better thought of you while he's in the jury.
Right.
Now, the truth of the matter is, Cliff doesn't have much sway with the jury. He's not actually going to the jury house.
Right.
He goes to a hotel. He goes to the round table. He goes back to sequester for a hotel. So
Yes.
he's not really mingling, but Jackson doesn't know that.
Yeah, right.
I don't even know if Cliff knows that.
Right.
So, like, yeah, just a bad look overall from Jackson, left, right, and center.
Mm-hmm. Well, that doesn't really have any bearing on how Jackson performs in competitions because, spoiler alert, he wins part 1 of the final HOH competition, which I think shocks nobody, probably.
Right.
But here we are. Now it's...
This is really, really starting to get scary.
Mhm.
Really, really dead.
Mhm.
Now,
and I have to say, like,
yes, please.
just going back real quick to Cliff's interview, the one thing that like annoyed me was when he was like, I was hoping somebody else would take the shot at Jackson at some point and get him out. And I'm like, that has been so the theme of this season.
Yeah.
Just people waiting around for someone else to take the shot. And like, granted, Cliff couldn't win anything, so he couldn't really take the shot. But, you know, he wasn't even trying to get Jackson out himself. He just was hoping someone else would get him out. And that's not a winning strategy. And so that's why we're here with this guy who can win competitions so easily compared to the rest of the people in the house at this point.
Right.
And so Jackson, of course, won the first part of the HOH.
That was Cliff's strategy the whole time, was I'm going to sit here in the middle and let them take shots at each other, which was an okay strategy for like a few weeks, like for a minute there.
Yeah.
But Jackson won too much. The person who keeps winning is going to be hard to get out.
Yeah.
So that's where we are. Now, let's talk about these 3-part HOHs.
Okay, yes.
Because, you know, we have to assume Jackson's going to win one of them.
Yo.
He's winning everything.
Yeah.
Even luxury comps that are pointless.
Yeah.
But what it looks like, they might have flipped.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. They've actually changed up these comps quite a bit this season. And they changed them up last season. So it's hard to tell which route they're going. But there's been way more physical comps than there used to be in this game.
Where's the days comp? Where's the comp where you have to study and remember things? I mean, granted, I guess that veto was a little bit that because you had to remember who had won HOH and who played in this comp and da-da-da. But usually there's something on like, what day did this happen? And they've got to like press the button and like count out to the number of days. Like, where's that
and not
comp?
have such a physical component. Like, that was a little bit of house knowledge. Granted, I would argue those were really easy questions.
HOH? Who wasn't HOH? Like, that's the easiest question you could ask.
So you're really saying the bulk of this competition is the slingshot and the balls.
Yeah.
And, you know, they had to run around to get the balls. You are
obviously
immediately
Jackson
cutting Cliff out. You know, it's like...
immediately.
So knowing that they're adding all of this physical stuff to these comps, you are just gearing it to a certain type of player.
Right.
That it didn't used to feel like that with Big Brother.
Yeah.
So what I'm ultimately saying is this first part of the HOH was far more physical than we realized because it wasn't an endurance. Like, part 1 has often been an endurance part.
Yeah.
So there was actually a conversation between Jackson and Holly of like, if it's endurance, then Jackson's going to throw it to Holly.
Yeah.
So that he can more than likely win part 2 that's going to have a mental component that Holly's not going to do well at.
Right.
And then, you know, they're sitting pretty.
Yeah.
But the upside to this is Jackson didn't throw it to Holly.
Yeah.
It was very, very physical, but there was also a puzzle involved. But it doesn't sound like it was days related or like game stuff related. Holly and Jackson both said it was so hard, very physical, the hardest comp they've had all season. Nicole wasn't even in the running. She was so far behind.
Wow.
So Jackson could have thrown this to Holly.
But that's not in Jackson's DNA, folks.
And he didn't. So that's a good sign for us.
Yes.
That we are sitting with Jackson, but he can't play in part 2.
All we can do is hope that Nicole wins part 2. That's all we can do.
We can hope that it is days or something game-related mental that Holly's got no hope at.
Right.
Because if it's endurance, if they just kind of flopped this, then Nicole and Holly are going to fight it out hard.
Yeah. So we're just left hoping that Nicole will win part 2 so that she can at least go up against Jackson in part 3. Who knows if she'll win that. Usually part 3 is like a little bit of a toss-up because it's typically the thing on the scales where you're guessing what jurors are saying.
Right.
And it's not always exactly what you think. It's not about
it's hard,
knowing
yeah.
them. It's really a guessing game,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
So the part 3 can go either way typically. But yeah, I'm just like sort of left here thinking like, okay, we're in this final 3. It feels like Jackson is all but a lock to win this game, but I just am holding on to hope because I'm remembering BB17 when Vanessa was like on her march to the finale and to that check, and then Steve somehow won the final HOH and took her out. That's the only scenario we can hope for here, is that Nicole will take Jackson out, I think.
I mean, that is going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
I keep thinking the same thing too. Steve did it.
Yeah.
We were all like, Vanessa's the one to beat. Like, you got to take Vanessa out. And Steve did it.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. Jackson's the one to beat. You have to take Jackson out. And Nicole would be our savior. We've been holding on to her this whole season.
Yes.
And so, yes, that would be beautiful. If she doesn't win part 2 and we know it's just between Jackson and Holly, we all just give up.
We give up.
This is so hard because I usually do a really good job of not getting personally invested.
Sure.
I stay very
it's a game. Whoever wins
strategy.
wins.
I can acknowledge Jackson's done some great things. Mm-hmm. You know, I can acknowledge what Holly's done. I'm usually really good at this, and this season is so hard.
It's hard to watch Jackson do well, just because we're not fans of him as a person.
It's really been difficult to watch his behavior towards people that he supposedly cares about, Pat and Holly.
Yeah, just really treating them poorly, so...
I want to point out, Linda asked in the chat, why doesn't he go to the jury house? It's just sort of logistics. They start to separate the jury members. Yeah. We've learned this just from hearing from alumni members, that at a certain point they get taken out of the jury house and put in separate hotel rooms. Like the beginning of the season, you're in sequester. Mm-hmm. And so then they go from their separate hotel rooms to the jury roundtable, and that's when they'll find out that Cliff was this person to be evicted. Right. He'll join the roundtable at that time, and then they'll all go back to separate hotel rooms in sequester again. Right. It's just the way that production does it.
Yeah, there is always that reveal of the final jury member. Well, not the final, but the second to last jury member, when Dr. Will sits down with everybody, so.
Oh, and to that point, there is no confirmation that Jessica Graff is doing the roundtable, you guys. Everyone take a deep breath. All she did was tweet out, what are questions you'd like to be asked? I think she was just genuinely asking for getting thought starters.
Sure.
There's no way that a pre-juror is being invited to host the roundtable.
Listen, if anything, she is more of an Amazing Race player at this point because she actually won that show.
That she did well at, absolutely. She did not play BB well. There's no way she is hosting. She's either trolling us or she was just being like, hey, what's something you want to ask? Right. Period. Yeah. Okay, that's what I'm saying.
That's all cool.
And maybe even Dr. Will called her up and was like, hey, do this for me. Because he does like to troll us and mess with us.
Yeah,
so,
yes.
Hopefully it still will. But
what else is going on in the chat here?
What are we saying?
Yes.
Fonda saying Holly doesn't even need to win. She's in final 2 no matter what. That's very true, Fonda. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. If they do part 3 like last year, not crapshooty, then Nicole has the edge. I mean, give Nicole an edge for Pete's sake.
Please give Nicole an edge.
If Jerkson wins, you're never watching the game. Ugh. Every season's different. That's all I can say. I've definitely had some tough seasons.
Hard, I get
it. This finale can be either amazing or terrible. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm going to tell you, if we know that it's Jackson and Holly going to final 2, as anti-game as this is, I will get enjoyment if Holly beats Jackson.
Yeah.
If it's a better jury and Holly wins, I'll get a little bit of satisfaction. Yeah. Even though she doesn't deserve to win it over.
And I will say, for the past, I think, 4 seasons, I've gone into the finale thinking I knew how it was going to end. BB17, I knew Vanessa was going to win. BB18, it was really a toss-up between Paul and Nicole Franzel, but I would have given the edge to Paul.
Right.
The next season, I definitely thought Paul was going to beat Josh. And then last season, I thought Tyler was going to beat Casey.
Of course.
So, like, they really do tend to surprise us on these finales. So, like, don't give up hope yet. Once Jackson wins, then we can give up hope.
Yeah, for sure. But then he'll just go down as most hated winner.
Right.
There's a bit of an argument. We've got Maggie is the most hated winner, and then Adam is the most hated winner.
Okay. I hear a lot of hate for Andy.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that for sure Jackson will become most hated winner.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine. When Jackson comes out, you'd hear crickets. He'll get that confetti. Boy wants confetti.
Silent
but to like
confetti.
No cheering except for Colleen, Mama Colleen in the audience. Like, well, baby! He did it!
What else in this chat room?
Jackson's gonna carry Holly to final 2, of course, but Nicole will too. We've had great winners this year, Tamar and Dane. That's true. I've heard, we didn't watch Canada, but we've heard great things about that.
Yeah, and loved Tamar in Celebrity Big Brother.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh my God, super excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
Can we do a live reaction to the final comps jury vote like we did Survivor a couple years ago?
Oh.
I don't know if we can do live. We might be able to. It's hard on that night because there's so much going on.
I was going to say, like, that night is going to be nuts because there's also Survivor premiere that night. Like, we are going to be very busy people that night.
But we will definitely consider that, Felix.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Seth's asking if we think that there'll be a Nick and Bella confrontation after the finale.
I hope so.
I
would love to see it.
Guarantee there'll be a confrontation.
It's like that Monique gif. I would like to see it.
I would like to see it. I just spit on a camera. Wondering how much help Jackson has had from production in these final comps. I don't know. I'm really torn because I don't think production wants Jackson to win. I don't think they want Jackson to have done this well because he's not a fan favorite. No one is rooting for Jackson. There's like
except
5 people who know his family and are rooting for him. And so I don't think production really wants him to win.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Faith, plot twist, if Jackson gets to pick who goes, he picks Watermelon. Yes. He's like, I'm
and
sorry.
Watermelon wins.
I have to pick both of you.
Faith, you're on fire. First you say we're in our 20s, then this hilarious comment about Watermelon. Keep it coming.
Jackson claiming he would have kept Cliff if Nicole and Cliff didn't consider keeping. Yeah, it's very annoying because it's just like, Cliff, why would you believe this? We're like, Jackson, why would we believe this?
Why would you think we would believe that?
Do you think we're dumb?
He must.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I just hope Paul doesn't make an appearance. Yeah, I think we've definitely moved on from Paul. We've got Tyler and Casey are going to make appearances with JC, the top 3 from last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we need to cover BB Canada. We will.
I know, I've heard it's so good.
We are one day going to get our act together and we're going to absolutely do it.
Yep.
It is on the list.
It definitely is.
Do we know literally anything about the upcoming winter BB season? Celebrity was absolutely canceled, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that we are guaranteed a winter BB season.
Yeah.
That is up for debate.
Yeah.
It would be awesome if it was some sort of All-Stars or an OTT.
That would be fun. That would be super fun.
BB OTT was fun. Like, why'd that stop?
Yeah.
I'm all for it. But I honestly, Celebrity was fun. I don't know why that got canceled.
I know. Low ratings, I guess. People are asking about America's Favorite Player.
Oh, yeah. So it's time to vote.
Yes.
What are you guys voting? Like, who are you voting for? This is tough because...
I think, honestly, interestingly, I think Cliff hurt his chances with his gameplay in the last week.
Mm-hmm.
People, I think, really didn't necessarily sour, but they were just disappointed in, like, the moves that he chose to make this late in the game. And I think that's what people are going to be left with, rather than these like fun, like cliff dancing, Cliff's Notes and all this stuff from throughout the season. So I think his chances are a little less than they used to be. I think Nicole is probably super high up there for a lot of people because she's been one of the only fun parts to watch these past few weeks.
I'm going to put most of my votes on Nicole because, to be honest with you, I'm terrified that she's not going to win. Her chances of winning are so
small.
Slim.
Yeah.
If I thought it was a pretty strong chance she was going to win, I'd be giving more of my votes elsewhere. Just to help someone else.
Yes.
I think I've seen people talk about, obviously Kimmy's getting a huge push from Twitter.
Which is great.
So yeah, I'm all for that. I'm all for giving Kimmy love.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed Kat. There was definitely a time this season where I wanted to vote for her.
Yeah.
For America's Favorite Player.
Yep.
So those are the two that I would consider, but honestly, I'm giving all my votes to Nicole.
Yeah.
I can't risk it.
I think that would send it a little bit, like if Jackson wins and then Nicole gets Favorite Player, I think it sends a little bit of a message,
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. We got to send a message
Yeah.
that no one in the top, they're going to announce top 3 of America's Favorite Player. And I want to hear 0 members of Grateful. In that top 3. Okay?
Please.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
That's what I'm asking.
yes.
You guys vote for whoever you want, as long as they weren't in Grateful. Just kidding. Vote for whoever you want.
Whoever you want.
I think Tommy's going to get a little bit of love. He could end up in the top 3. He went out on a very dramatic, sad note. And so TV only viewers are probably going to be like, oh, Tommy.
Yeah, we love him. Yeah. Yep. Well...
Do you have to go back to work?
I know. I was just going to say, it's 3:05. My lunch hour is over.
His lunch hour is over. So, okay, that's a good time to wrap this up.
Yes.
Thank you for coming on your lunch hour. Thank you guys, for being here. Appreciate you guys showing up for us in the middle of the day.
Yes, thank you so much.
And Sunday's episode, we will see this first part of HOH play out. We will also see the sort of interview roundtable something with the top 3 from last year.
Yes.
Which I like Tyler and Casey, so I'm down for that.
Same.
And that's Sunday night's episode. And so we'll be back on Monday to talk more about that and to break down these jury votes.
Yes, and then it's the finale, and then it's Survivor, so lots of stuff happening.
That's right. Week. Also, our Survivor cast assessment did go up.
Yeah,
so
check it out.
Please check that out.
It's long.
Excited.
But it's so fun. Yes, so excited. All right. We will see you guys next time.
Okay, bye.
Bye.